All right, Tap in Birdie. Solo episode. No guests, just me tonight. Just your boy. Some guests fell through, but honestly, I like doing the solo show. I could definitely talk more about the guys I like and things I'm looking for better than if I'm like with a guest. And if I have a guest on, I'm trying to like impress him, like ask him the right questions. Like sometimes I just want to ramble about golf and like, just kind of move on. So no guests this week, just me. 45 minutes. Got a podcast after this. You guys should all check out. It'll be out tomorrow. It's with Boston Capper on the Sports Gambling Network. It's going to be a great pod. They sent me a whole itinerary. Looking forward to it. So first things first, Northern Trust. I was there Saturday. Supposed to go Sunday. Obviously rained out. No fans. Unbelievable. Jared, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. It's called me handsome. Really, really the man. Really appreciate that. So I was there Saturday. I went with Andy Lack, who you all know. Met up with some people. Met up with Owen Rabel of Draws and Fates. He's the man. His dad's the man. Met up with some friends. Followed Xander, which, you have to do with Andy. He's not going to follow anyone else. Nagels was also following Xander. Nagels hates me. I said what up. I just kind of felt like I had to. So followed around Xander. Saw some closing holes, but, golf tournaments are tough to like get right. Like you kind of have to get lucky and just follow someone who goes off. Like I obviously should have started the day and just followed Cam Smith, but whatever. So whatever. I'm drinking all day. I'm buying 3 Stellas at a time, fucking smoking, whatever. I'm chilling and I'm walking out and I'm like, everyone's posting these super low scores. Like, I kind of want someone like consistent, like Rahm shot 8 under, like JT shot 8 under, Cam Smith shot 10 under. I'm like, I want a guy that's been like -5 every day. So I'm like Tony fucking Finau. So I'm walking out, literally drunk, and I'm like, 12-1, Tony, $20, boom, take it. And then Thursday night, I'm like, Tony's so good, he's gonna win. I tweeted out, Jeff, be on the podcast next week. Yeah, motherfucker, Venmoed me $100. He's like, dude, Tony's not gonna win. I'm like, he'll win within the next year, and I just see Venmo me $100. So I just want to clarify something. I put in my card last week, like 400 risk. The only bet that hit was Tony Finau top 20. Like that is embarrassing. Like I had a god awful week. Like I was about to be down like 350 to my bookie. Like I don't enjoy doing that. And I also spent like $1 million in the city this weekend. And then Tony Finau wins. Cam Smith Booth's won. OB. It was like perfect situation. You don't even have to sweat it. And then Rahm didn't get that up and down on 15. I was like, wow. So I was only down like $40 instead of like 350. So unbelievable turn of events. Super happy with the way things turned out. And Tony Finau, we touted him on the podcast. We said to play him at DraftKings. We said it was a great bet. I mean, I wouldn't have told you to bet him outright, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes you bet a guy because he's just going to do well and then he wins. But that was the first time I've ever had somebody on my card and I didn't have him outright and they won. So whatever. The card construction last week was dumb. And, we move on from that. But I haven't had a winning week. Great way to start the podcast. I haven't had a winning week since the tournament of July 4th weekend after the Travelers. I don't know what tournament that was. But, Tony declined it, sadly. But he wanted to be on because we're best boys and he's a great dude. But, yeah, Tony Finau, look, answer one. Finau wins. I think it's Louis week. I mean, obviously it's Louis week. But you guys already knew that. But, yeah, I think Louis gets the monkey off his back this week like we've seen with his brethren. Before. Let me know if there's Tony loves having sex and kids, so he's a great guy. I'm really happy for him, and I like him again this week. I think he has another great finish. He's not going to win, but top 10, top 20, DraftKings, low owned. Yeah, Tony, play him again. All right, we're going back to the well. All right, few shout outs. Want to shout out probably the greatest tweet I've ever gotten from Tyler Hunt. I hope he's watching with his friends. He said, "Hey man, are you still going live at 7:30? I have some friends." And I told you about them, and they're coming over to have some beers and watch. Dude, crack a beer. Let's talk golf. I got the locks this week. I got the DraftKings lineups. We're having fun. It's going to be a great week. That was a really nice tweet. I really appreciate that. And makes me feel good about what I do and grinding all the time. All right. We're into the BMW. This is a difficult week to handicap, obviously, because there is no course history. It's never been played before by PGA Tour professionals. And no one really knows about it. So that puts a little cloud over handicapping this week, and it's kind of just your own gut and instinct and what you think. But I do have some friends that went to the practice rounds that know golf. He's actually a golf instructor, so I really trust his opinion. It's not like just some random dude going. So let me just pull up what he said about the course. He knows golf. Like, it's not like some random dude. So he said, endurance is required. Place is a beast. Deceptively tight. Looks open from the tee, but a lot of trouble can be had on wayward drive. Rough is up, really thick outside the ropes. Okay. Back is a little different. Some water introduced, little more open. Course is wet right now, but it's hot, so I'm sure it will be better. I think I love the long ball this week. We want long hitters. Place seems huge. Then we're talking about Bryson. And then I asked him about winning score because that's really important. He said, my best guess would be -17. Place is a beast. But if you're keeping it in play, you can go low. Greens don't seem to be wild or anything. So I'm giving you all the information I have from people that were literally there today and know golf. So I'm kind of basing my handicapping off that. So now I want to get into what I put into my model and the stats that I'm looking at this week. I'm not a huge model guy, but obviously we want long hitters this week. We want long and accurate off the tee. No 290 drives are going to be cutting it this week. So in my model, I have 25% weighted off the tee, 15% approach, 15% putting, 11% birdies or better game, probably a little less, but you're going to have to make birdies. I'd say the winning score is 16 to 19. I don't think it gets to 20. Fairways gained, I think, is a very important stat this week. You need to be hitting the fairways, and then you can attack these pins. But we're talking about width of the fairway. Andy Lack tweeted about it, and there's average 25 yards. That is super small. That is a very small fairway to hit. So you're going to need guys that are straight off the tee and hit it far and are not wayward off the tee. Proximity from 200 yards is really important this week. All the par threes are over 200 yards. I think one is 190. These par fives are really long. You need to have a good long iron game. I don't want wedge players. I want long iron players. And last week is it's a decent comp. I mean, the par threes were long. The par fives were long. You're going to have 200-yard approach shots. So I need guys that are good with their long irons and are good recently with their long irons. Shout out my boy. Appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. So, all right. Rom 55-1. Look. This is every tournament. Either no one's gonna lay 55-1. No one's gonna lay 5-1 on Rahm. Okay, he's not. It's an unbettable number. You'll have no fun. It's not worth it. Last week we all got lucky. Hopefully we'll get lucky again. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if he won again. But it's just just DraftKings. I mean, super high price, but you're gonna need a low price lock, which I have obviously. So Xander Schauffele 16-1. So this is kind of my take on this week. 4 majors, so for the Open, the U.S. Open, PGA Championship, they basically do what they did here to courses. So they shrink the fairways, they increase the rough, and they make it longer. So by that my quasi take is I want guys that play well in majors. I think a lot of guys that play well, even though the winning score might be off, I think the logistics of how they actually set up the golf course is going to be important. So I want guys that play well in majors. A guy that plays well in majors is Xander Schauffele. He's long and straight off the tee. He has great long iron game. 16-1. I mean, he just won the Olympics. It's a no-cut event. I want guys that played well last week. That is my thing. And the 2 top guys that actually showed up last week were Xander and JT, which I think is important. I don't want anyone that didn't really play well last week because no one really performed. Spieth, I want no part of. I don't like Spieth this week. Obviously, he's played the course a bunch. I just don't like it. He's too volatile, and he's not long enough off the tee. I don't see it with Spieth this week. Burns, I kind of like. I'm going to get into him later, but just quickly, I just like the amount of birdies that he make and how he is off the tee, but I'll get to that. Morikawa, okay, next is JT. What I'm worried about with JT is that he putted so well. I'll literally talk about every guy, guys. I will talk about every guy. No one worry. JT putted so well last week. Like literally insane. I just saw some stat that he was like 66 of 68 with inside 10 feet. He never does that. Maybe the greens were easier. Maybe it was just an easier course to putt on. Might be the same this week, but I don't know if he could keep up that putting performance. But what from what I saw off the tee and approach, he was dynamite. Really good. So again, of the top guys, I kind of like people that played well last week. I don't expect a big turnaround. They had one less day to prepare. Similar courses. Morikawa, I just like an ownership play in DFS, maybe. But, like, I just doesn't really make sense to me, like, given the fact that he admitted that he has a back injury and then proceeded to lose strokes on approach. Like, I don't see any reason why you should play that. I mean, it's hard enough. Quick question. So I use Fantasy National, like everybody, and then I also use, like, Fanshare Sports and stuff like that. But yeah, I usually use Fantasy National. That's just like pretty standard. I think most people do. So I'm not going to play a guy that told me he's injured and is losing on approach when that's his greatest attribute. So need a sip. Dustin Johnson, I played him last week, followed him, missed a cut on the number. He had a 5-foot putt to make the cut, 5-foot par putt to make the cut and play the weekend. And he put it 4 feet past. Look, I didn't see the putt, but that shows me the guy doesn't give a fuck. And he obviously didn't want to play the weekend. He just doesn't have it right now. Everyone's expecting this DJ turnaround, and it's just not happening. So I'm off him. I don't want any part of him. So this morning, I'm going over everybody. Nobody worry. I will get to your favorite golfer. You just kept saying watch. So this morning, I work a regular job. I work a regular desk 9 to 5 job. So I set my alarm for like 7:40. And by 7:45, like phone's blowing up, Twitter's blowing up, everyone's up, and they're like, dude, Bryson's 35-1 on DraftKings. I'm like, oh yeah, no. And everyone's betting, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna bet that. So I Venmoed my friend in New Jersey, and I threw $15 on him at 35-1. Look, we're already talking about how this place is going to reward long drives and people that are long off the tee. I mean, that's the first thing people think about is Bryson DeChambeau. How do you throw a 35-1 on him? And he hasn't been that bad. Like, he actually has been playing decent. And he made 19 birdies the first 2 days. Yeah, he made a lot of doubles and shit, but regardless, the number's gone. You can't, it's over. You can't bet that number anymore. I hope anyone got it. But I also think I think he's worth your money. With Bryson, DJ, Morikawa, X, Spieth, or Rahm. I like him the most. And he hasn't been that bad. I mean, he just hasn't been that bad. He doesn't really rank out that well in my model, but decent. Okay. This is what we're talking about, stats. Over the last 12 rounds, Bryson is first and off the tee and second in birdies or better gained. That seems like a pretty good winning formula. I'm happy that I have exposure to Bryson at a 35 number. I'm happy about that. I'm fine with that. So that's my exposure to him. I'm not going to bet him any other way, but I'm happy with that exposure. So next guy is my favorite golfer in the world, Louis Oosthuizen. Didn't get to see him last week, sadly. He's at the grounds. I saw a video of him playing today. So he's there. He's not withdrawing. People are like, oh, he withdrew the last 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, he didn't withdraw last week. He just didn't fucking play because he had the fucking points and he's a baller. So I don't want to fucking hear it. I started this podcast talking about how I want guys that play well in majors. What do you have to do in majors? You have to hit it long and you have to hit it straight off the tee. Who's contended in every single major? Louis Oosthuizen. Okay. That makes sense. Actually ranks out well in my model. He is 12th. No, I don't know. I can't fucking count. Okay, some stats. So he's 7th over the last 12, 7th in approach, 9th in putting, 15th in birdies or better, 24th in fairways gained, 30th in. He's good with his long irons because you have to be at majors, and he's contended at all of them. Par threes, 20 par threes over 200 yards, 23rd. He just is good at all these different things. I mean, bet him fucking top 5 if he can win. Just bet him top 5, top 10. Throw a unit, throw 2 units on it. I think I'm not going to say play Louis every week. I pick him in his spots, and this is a week. I obviously bet him outright. Obviously. I obviously bet him top 5. Get plus 400 for a top 5. I like that bet. I'd play it. First round leader, first round top 5. I think these are good bets on Louis this week. I couldn't care less about his last 2 weeks off. I think that actually helps him. He was playing a lot of golf. And we're talking about long and straight off the tee. They're doing the same thing at majors that they do at this course, and he dominates on majors. So it makes sense to me. Can he win at 17 under? I don't know. But he can get to 15 under and top 5 and top 10. I like him in DraftKings. Start your lineup with him. It makes sense to me. I'm playing Louis. You got me, dude. You got me. I'm playing Louis. Rory, dude, I bet him last week, and we're talking Quail Hollow, talking about Fazio. Yeah, Rory dominates. Talking about long off the tee. Yeah, that works. I understand, but I just don't see him winning. It's hard for me to go back to him, and I respect anybody that bet him last week and is betting him again, because it takes balls, because your recency bias, but it does set up well for him. I don't blame anyone for playing it. Ownership, I feel like it's decent. No, like 14%. So buy low spot on him, but it makes sense. We're talking about Quail Hollow as a comp. So yeah, if he only has a few places he can do well on. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate the tweet. I don't know if you're still watching. But yeah, I'm done with Rory. I'm not betting him. If he wins, so be it. I do not see him winning an event soon. I mean, yeah, he won at Quail Hollow, and that was basically a crowning for him. Brooks Koepka, I'm not only not playing, I am fading Brooks Koepka this week. I'm taking Cantlay in a matchup over him. Taking Cantlay over Brooks. I have a side wager with Andy Lack on it. I'm going to bet it. It's going to be on the card, because sometimes I don't put my matchups on the card because I'm not really good at them. But yeah, I hate Brooks this week. I actually think he's a horrible play. When someone tells you who they are, you have to listen sometimes. And I believe that the last 2 tournaments, Brooks has shown us who he is. And he's not an auto lock in random events, even if they're big, like he is in majors. He's just not. He's just not that guy anymore. And I know I said I like guys in majors, but Brooks, he was T11 going into Sunday. So people are like, oh, well, like Brooks isn't going to backdoor top 10. He's going to be in the top 10 on Sunday and realize he's not going to win and just T38. So when I'm betting these finishing positions and these outright plays, I want someone going towards the leaderboard, towards the top of the leaderboard on Sunday, not away from it. I understand this course might suit well for him, but he just doesn't have it in majors, other than the Travelers, which I literally don't think anybody in the world bet him at the Travelers. Other than that, he hasn't top 10 at a non-major since February. Why is he going to do it now? Cantlay is like one of the most consistent players off tour and gains a bunch of strokes off the tee. Ranks out well in my model. He's a consistent player. He can hit fairways and hit greens. That's the game. I'm taking a very consistent. So I'm giving it. I think it's a great bet. Cantlay over Brooks. You're taking a very consistent golfer that can make a lot of birdies versus someone who isn't going to give you 4 complete rounds. I mean, that's a no-brainer. you just take it. So I'm going to be, I don't usually active fade golfers. I'm actively fading Brooks this week. And if it fucking stabs me in the dick after Tate beating him last week, so be it. I really don't give a fuck. Cam Smith, I mean, is he really going to do it again? I mean, he's a birdie machine, but that performance was pretty special. And it's just, I mean, is number 28-1 Cam Smith? I mean, he's never been that number before. I don't see it. I'm not getting there. So Tony Finau, look, I think you should play him again. Will he win? No, probably not. But I think that a plus 230 top 10, that's a great bet. You can probably get a better number on it. I love that bet. What I say? I said I like guys that play well in majors. I said on my podcast last week, you play Tony in stacked fields. You play Tony in big events. You don't play him at the fucking 3M Open. It's not a tournament. That suits him well. And what does he do? He goes out and wins a big tournament with the strongest field of the year. I see no reason to not go back to him. He's excellent from 200 yards. He's excellent off the tee. He's long and straight off the tee. It's tough to back a guy after their first win. It's tough, but I hope he's not drinking, man. I hope he's not drinking. All right. Scheffler. I played him last week. Lost a bunch of money on him. No. Maybe he bounces back well. He's under-owned. Play it. But I'm not going to be there. This next group, I don't really have. Paul Casey is not a birdie fest guy, in my opinion. Paul Casey is like a -4 guy, in my opinion. But he's consistent and good. But let me look at Scheffler's ownership because I think it's actually important. And I think that sometimes public perception, Scottie Scheffler's 7% owned. So, I mean, I don't think that he had like a bad week. I mean, I really wanted to catch top 20, but he didn't even finish in the top 40. And he's kind of been a lock at like WGCs and majors. Maybe this doesn't really relate well. So I'm interested to see how he plays this week. Whatever. He's not, maybe it just, I'm off him this week. Paul Casey, Harris English, I think he's always a good play, in my opinion. Answer and Berger, two guys I had big top 20s on last week, and they just didn't cash. Berger, he's getting a lot of love this week. People really like Berger. And it's interesting because he was very high on last week and did nothing. So people don't seem to care. I'm not sure what on this course particularly sets up super well for him. You know, I think of Berger as someone better on a plotters course with more emphasis on approach play and undulating greens and not a place where you have to hit it like 310 off the tee. I mean, look at his wins. Pebble and RBC. Those are iron courses, not off the tee courses. So, no, I'm not there on Berger. I'm fine with missing out on him. Webb. So Victor Hovland, I don't love him. I don't really like him. I think he gets bet too much for the amount he doesn't win. Yeah, I love Louis. Whatever. He's long off the tee. He's good over 200 yards. Those are reasons to bet him. 35. I don't think he has the win equity of a 35. Both the events he won were kind of shitty fields. He was the best player in them. So I don't think he's going to win. He didn't even cash anything last week. Literally not a single thing last week. So whatever. So a guy I do like and a guy I'm betting, top 10, DraftKings. I think he's pretty popular. I'm betting Decky this week. You know, he ranks out really well in my model. He's been playing some stellar golf, some really good golf after the Olympics. Let me pull up his thing. So Bent, everyone knows it's his best surface. Northern Trust T43, he made a triple. He was there. He gained almost 5 strokes off the tee. He's been gaining off the tee in the last 3 rounds. He's been decent putting. He's good off the tee. Another thing I like about him is that he's 15th in fairways gained and 8th in birdies or better gained. I think that's important. I think that he can do it this week. I think it's a good top 10 bet and in DraftKings. So I'm playing him. I think that's a good bet. Shane Lowry's interesting. He really had an amazing week last week. I'm a little mad I'm not on him. Shane Lowry's good off the tee. Shane Lowry's good, and he's a major champion. So I don't dislike that at all. Corey Connors is projected to be like a very, very high own this week, and that's fine. And he had a very consistent week last week, projected at 25% ownership right now, which is very high for him. Corey Connors is, again, he's a fairways green guy, which is what I think is going to be important this week. Stellar on approach, but I think that let me look at his like off the tee game, but I don't know. I don't know what, but he's decent on bent. 8th at the Northern Trust, gained 5 strokes off the tee and lost 2 putting, which, I mean, that's pretty standard for him, and gained 9 strokes tee to green. I mean, that's pretty unbelievable. The Open 15th and 17th at the PGA. So that fits the narrative of being good at majors this year, which I like. I don't hate Corey Connors, but I don't think I'm going to get there with him or bet him in really any way. So Sam Burns, I mean, he's having a really sneaky good run, in my opinion. Like, he's just playing some really excellent golf. Was in that playoff at St. Jude, 21st at the Northern Trust. Not excellent. I mean, I only would have been in top 20. Didn't even cash that. I would have been upset. But he gains a lot off the tee. He's an excellent birdie maker. It really, in my opinion, is really going to come down to like how wide the fairways are, because I worry about his wayward drives. But at the same time, he's just been playing too good to not bet. I don't know. He kind of plays good in runs. Like he won the Valspar and then followed it up with his second place at the Brian Nelson, then was shitty. But then he's kind of turning the corner. Second at St. Jude, which was a birdie fest. I don't think they're very similar courses, but I don't know. He had a good week last week. I'm sure he had some blow-up holes. He made 21 birdies. That's a lot. So if we're talking about long off the tee and making birdies, Sam Burns makes sense. I think it's a decent play. Top 20. I don't know what you could get on it, but I think it's a decent play. So yeah, where's Tron? Honestly, I like No Laying Up. I really do. And I listened to their podcast, and I could not, like, their podcast was so unbelievably bad today, and I hate Tron. He's just the worst. And then he was like, oh, I'll listen to Tap and Birdie. I'm like, dude, people listen to my podcast. Like, it's one thing if no one listened to this and he made fun of my podcast, but yeah, dude, I literally listened to it for 10 minutes and I turned it off. It's not even funny. You guys, I like them. I watch all their YouTube content. It's you guys are actually golf podcasters, and you just make a complete joke of this win. And you're just an asshole just to be an asshole. Fuck you, bro. You're just whatever. I'm over it. None of you fucking care. It doesn't even matter. Okay. Tringali, nah. I don't care. Joaquin Niemann is getting a lot of steam. I think people like him. My good friend, PGA Tout, he spotlighted him this week. I know a lot of other people are on him. Joaquin Niemann, he's long off the tee. He can contend in birdie fests. He's good on bent. He played decent last week, I think. So that's a few boxes to check for me. So I think he makes sense this week. Can I see him winning a playoff event? I don't know. But I don't know, man. Let's see if any. I just gave you those good stats. It makes sense. Only if I feel like no one played well last week. 47th last week, 17th at St. Jude. I probably won't get there. He's probably not going to be on the card. All right, we're moving down. I like Sunjay M this week. I played him a lot in DraftKings last week. he actually cashed a fucking top 20. So he ranks out really well in my model. Let me pull this up. He's excellent. I think he's like 13th in fairways gained and 14th in good drives gained over the last 4 rounds. Over the last like 12 rounds, which I think is obviously really important. We're talking about finding the fairway, and he's been playing some excellent golf. He's kind of showing some form. So I like him for a top 20 this week. Plus 170 you can get on it. I like that. Throw about a unit on it. I like it. I was late on him, and as soon as I get on him, he pops off, and that totally could happen. I wouldn't expect anything different. But yeah, he's good in the stats I'm looking at, and he's good on bent, and he lost strokes putting last week, which he doesn't normally do. So I think a top 20 save for Sanjay M. All right. I gotta speed this up. So now I'm gonna kind of talk about just the guys that I like this week, and then I'm betting further down the board. So 2 guys that I'm betting top 20 in DraftKings, and just some lower owned guys. So I really like Munoz this week. Munoz is just playing some excellent golf. Like going back even before the Olympics, he's just been playing excellent. He's good off the tee. Okay, come on, dude. All right, I'm fucking doing it the old-fashioned way. I like Munoz this week. I could pull up Andy's article about what he wrote, but I just like him this week. So 29th at the Wyndham, 21st at the Northern Trust, gained 5 strokes on approach. He's good on bent. He plays well in playoff events. Top 20, you could get like a plus 230 on him. That's on the card this week. I just like the way he's playing. 4th at the John Deere. I think he plays well this week and can cash a top 20 for you. So a guy that was like kind of like my gut instinct this week was Keith Mitchell. I'm seeing that he's very high owned, 28%, which is pretty high for a guy in the 6,500 range. But so we're talking about probably the best comp is Quail Hollow. Keith Mitchell, that was like his best finish of the year. Played excellent at Quail Hollow, came in 3rd, was in the final pairing with Rory. Made 3 birdies to make this event and top 10. Bombs it off the tee. Like top 10 in driving distance and strokes gained off the tee. You put the course history and recent form together, and I think he's a play. I hate that everyone else thinks it's a play, but that was my first instinct of the week, and that's sometimes wrong, but I'm going to play him, and I think he's a good play this week. And at 60 on DraftKings, I don't know if the number went down. He was 7-1 to top 20. Which is now he's plus 550. That's a crazy number. So yeah. Okay. More guys down the board. Vegas. Yeah. Vegas has probably been on my card for the last 4 weeks, and I'm not stopping now. So what are we talking about this week? We're talking about Birdie Fest. We're talking about making a lot of birdies, and we're talking about gaining strokes off the tee. That is Johnny Vegas. That is literally what Johnny Vegas does. He ranks 13th in my model, 17th off the tee, 17th on approach. I like that combo. 8th in par 4 scoring, over 200 yards, and 28th in proximity from 200 out. I like Vegas this week. I'm a little worried about the wayward drives, but I think he could keep it in the fairway, and I think he could top 20. I'm betting Vegas this week. I think he's a good top 20 play. I think he's a good DraftKings play. He's had some excellent finishes. It's just too many boxes, and I literally bet him every single week. So it's like, why stop now? You know, he cashed 3 top 20s in a row. So top 20. Okay, so Palmetto's second. That was a Fazio design new place where Bombers did well. Second place. U.S. Open didn't play well. Whatever. 3M Open, second place. Who won that? Cam Champ. Okay. Wyndham, 15th. And of course, that doesn't even suit him well. And then he missed a cut at the Northern Trust. I actually like that he has some days to prepare and kind of has an advantage with the other guys. So I think Vegas is a must play this week. And there's guys that when I play them and they don't play well, I'm off them. I like Vegas this week. I think it's a great bet. All right. I really think I talked about almost everybody that I like this week. So just quickly, these are my notes for my podcast. So in the 10K range, I like JT and Xander, and I'd like to fade Brooks. In the 9K range, I like Louie and Decky, and I fade Berger. In the 8K range, I like Burns and Neiman, fade Webb. In the 7K range, Vegas, Keegan, and Champ. Champ could be a play this week. Fade Kokrak. I think Kokrak's really lost right now. I don't think he has the magic that he had earlier in the year. If he can't contend last week, I don't think he does this week. Something is off with Kokrak. And even though this is a place where you need to make birdies and you have to be long off the tee, I don't see it with Kokrak this week, and I will gladly not be a part of it. And I probably finishes like T45. 6K range, I like Munoz, Mitchell, and Hudson Swafford. I really like Hudson Swafford this week. His off the tee numbers have been insane. Second in strokes gained off the tee over the past 12 rounds. Second. Third in fairways gained. 14th in birdies or better. Hudson Swafford, he's going to be played this week. I know Rick Gaiman was talking about him. I'm playing him. I'm playing him top 40. Let's see if we can get plus money on a top 40. Yeah. Hudson Swafford plus 250 top 40. Play that. Bet that. Get a legal book and play that. 2 top 40 plays this week, Hudson Swafford and Keith Mitchell. They have to beat 30 guys. They can do it, I believe, at 100%. No, I actually only had one. Honestly, I'm not even toasted at all. If you guys have any questions about guys that I didn't go over, let me know. But I really went over who I like this week and who I'm playing, who's going to be on my card, and who I like in DraftKings. So, I have a podcast at 8:30 that I kind of need to prep for. Yeah, no, he's a drunk. I think he actually is a drunk. I'm like not even kidding. I think he like really enjoys drinking. I worry about him sometimes. But yeah, I'll just go. Okay. Neiman's most popular guy this week. Burns, Mitchell, Champ. People are really digging into the Bombers narrative because the 4 most owned guys on Fanshare Sports right now are Neiman, Burns, Mitchell, and Champ, and then Corey Connor. So, and then Kokrak is 23. No, I would not recommend playing Kokrak in DraftKings at all. I think that's actually a horrible play. Look, guys, I really appreciate everyone who watched live, who's rewatching tomorrow on YouTube at 1.5 speed. I really appreciate it. Max, I'll tell you quick, and then I'm getting off. Max Homa. People are touting Max Homa. I'll miss it. He's at 12% owned. Andy likes him. Rob likes him. 2 people I respect in the industry that they're my good friends. So, okay, that's fine. I don't see it this week. I think he's horrible at majors, so that's a reason not to bet him. And yeah, okay, guys, I'm ending it. I really appreciate everyone who watched. It was a great podcast. You're all my best friends, and I hope everyone wins some money this week, and I will have a positive week. And Brooks Koepka will suck, so don't play him. All right, I'm getting